Hi, Dr. Marianne Cintron. Thanks for joining us today. I have a returning guest who is a good friend of mine, and I'm so excited for her to share with you Stephanie Thayer. She's a sports nutritionalist, licensed in that, and we're going to talk today about how to help your young children and older children eat healthy, specifically if they have ADHD. What can you do to not have to put them on the medicine? Welcome to the stage, Stephanie. It's good to have you today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I always love any time that you and I get to hang out.
Thank you. I know most of our audience probably knows who you are, but give a little bit of an introduction for those who are new to meeting you.
My name is Stephanie. I have a background in psychology and project management and sports nutrition. I'm also a certified health coach. But most importantly, I'm a mom and I have 3 bonus children and then 2 that I had to birth. So the joke was that I got 5 for the price of 2. It was a pretty good deal. And they all are very different, right? All of our kids come out different. And I found myself with my 2 youngers presenting very different behaviors that I didn't understand what they were. They both have, now the umbrella is ADHD. They put them all into that ADHD bucket, even though one of mine is very quiet and docile, and one is what you would typically think of, as much energy as they come to. And so I happen to be married to a physician, so he gave me some good insight. And the recommendations I'm making are not as a medical professional, but they are with a sports nutrition license and background, and just a mama's trial and errors, right? There's
Yes.
certain things you learn from going through it.
And it's such a scary thing to be a mom, weaning the child from the bottle to wanting to give them organic food and healthy food and tasty food. I have a 9-month-old granddaughter, and I see her mother going through that, just the challenges and the stress of that. But when I would tutor kids in my home, and I would ask them, what did you have for breakfast? And they'd tell me they had Fruit Loops, or they had a cupcake, or it just broke my heart, because I'm thinking, don't these parents know how to feed their children something healthy in the morning? But I was raised in a home of 7 children, and my mom thought giving us tapioca pudding on a cold, wintry morning was a good thing. Tapioca pudding.
I'm sure it was great. You loved it.
It was tasty, but we were both on a TV program last week. Well, I was watching you on it with another doctor, and he was talking about health being developed in the womb, and how when the mothers are eating healthy, in the baby in the womb is developing strength. And that really got my attention, because my beloved mother probably didn't do that because my siblings and I all have challenges with being hungry, wanting sweets and stuff. But let me ask you, out of the different things I just shared, what is in your heart to speak on strongly to help moms?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned the womb. So I think as moms, we also have to give ourselves a lot of grace. Every child is different. There's a book, there's an expert. Everybody says this is the thing to do. And your child may or may not fit within that, right? And those recommendations. So I do really strongly believe in mom intuition. You spend the most time with your child. So you can know when something's off and when something's right. But when it comes to in the womb, that what the show that you're referencing, we were talking about addiction, and people always think of, heavy drugs or alcohol or smoking and how bad that is for our children. Well, the reality is whatever mom eats or takes in is what the baby has, right? I used to joke when I was pregnant, I'm just a vessel. Like my body's not even mine right now. Um, but sugar is the most addictive substance on the planet. And when you have sugar, you want more sugar. It takes 2 weeks for that sugar addiction to completely go away. I don't care how old you are. So we can be doing things that we didn't even intend to do to our babies, which is one of the reasons they say when you start introducing baby food, not to give them the fruit first. Not that fruit is a great natural sugar, but that's all they're going to want. They're not going to take the vegetable because our brain goes, oh, yes, this is delicious, right? And so it raises dopamine, all these things. You can look up PET scans for cocaine addiction compared to sugar. The studies show sugar is 16 times more addictive. And so that kind of leads into, as a parent, like you're saying, your mom would give you tapioca pudding. I hated tapioca pudding, by the way, but because of the balls in it.
Uh-huh.
But so she gave you sugar, just like the Fruit Loops that you mentioned, lots of
Yeah.
sugar. And then we expect our children to go to class and sit still for 7 hours. And if they don't sit still, the punishment is that they usually don't get recess, which is exactly what they need. So
Yes.
and there's things that we do that this is not a judgment. Most of the food that our society has supplemented to make inexpensive, like pasta, you can feed a family very inexpensively on pasta. Our wheat has been so changed. We meant well, but sometimes when we do that, we mess things up. So we took a very nutty, high protein food. And when we were having some starvation issues, we changed the wheat to make it mass production. That turned wheat into almost a complete carb, a quick sugar. So a lot of parents don't realize this, but when they make that bowl of pasta and they put it in front of their kids, you might as well be giving your child a bowl of table sugar, like what you would bake with.
Isn't that
And if you
something?
want to, I know. And if you want to research it more, you can look up glycemic index. That just tells you how quick your body transfers food into sugar. So there are a lot of readily available things like bread and pasta that we're giving our kids all day long. And so what happens is they have this spike in energy, kind of like when you have the Snickers bar, right? You spike in energy, but then you have this huge drop. And we're wondering why we have behavioral issues of kids. We're not feeding them well. And so it's kind of this vicious cycle. And I personally believe, especially with boys, that there are a lot that are diagnosed ADHD that actually aren't ADHD. It's because of their environment and the food that they're taking in. And we simply don't know.
That's excellent. What about the handy snacks that parents want to have available for their children? So I know we've had a conversation about fruit being high in the sugar, and then even carrot sticks that would be high in sugar. So would you think like celery sticks with peanut butter would be better?
Yes.
And what are some other recommendations for
So
snacks?
I actually, kids, if you're going to have sugar, fruit is the perfect place to be getting it in. So just for example, berries are powerhouse, lots of micronutrients. They're actually pretty low in fast sugar. Strawberry, number one. And I love a good strawberry. Watermelon or grapes are really, really high in quick sugar. So if your kid has a soccer game, that's an amazing choice. If you know they're going to be sitting in class, you probably don't want to send them with a bag full of grapes because they're going to have a similar response. The difference in the sugar of a fruit versus like the sugar of a pasta, the fruit also has vitamins and minerals. So there's other goodness versus having that pasta. But around our house, we homeschool, so we have a little lazy Susans. You can put out different things. I have nuts in there. I do raw carrots are actually great. They do have sugar, but they're a good for your eyes too. Celery, we do raw broccoli and cauliflower. And a little trick, if you have dip, your kid is more likely to eat that vegetable. I'm just telling you, they like
Amen.
to.
Even me. Give me
Yeah,
some
me
ranch
too.
dip with my broccoli.
Yeah, ranch, hummus, the onion dip. So
Hummus. Yeah.
also cherry tomatoes. And so what I see will happen is that the kids, they're teenagers now, but they will go grab that first. And sure, they're still kids. They may grab a fig bar or something like that. But the reality is most of those bars out there, save yourself money, buy them the candy bar. They are not, they do not have the nutrients you think that they do. And it's marketing. It's pure marketing. Like fig bar, I just mentioned, my one kid loves it. It's pure sugar.
Yeah, I was thinking a fig bar. What about like
Yeah.
at the nutrition shops, how they have their, the protein shakes and the nutrition bars that look to be pretty healthy? Would that be a better bet to buy some from there?
It really, really depends. Most of those, I don't want to name brands and pick on certain brands, but most of them, and Some of those brands have bars that are specifically marketed to kids. So one of the things that you can do is you can flip it over, look at how much sugar is in it. Most of those have 4 or more teaspoons of sugar. So if it's 6 grams of sugar is 1 teaspoon. So to give you an idea, give them the apple. I mean, my kids go through bananas so fast. You know, our groceries are expensive right now. I bought them a whole bunch of bananas, which bananas actually are pretty high in sugar, but they have
Yeah.
other great things like potassium. Bananas are about 20 or 25 cents a piece. You're buying those healthy bars for your kids, they're $2 or $3. So you do not have to raise your budget necessarily, but you do have to plan. So what I do with the vegetables, I actually got a Tupperware that you can stack. I can send you the link if you want to put it in the comments.
Okay.
But it's a Tupperware that you can stack. And so I cut up the veggies and have them in the fridge because kids are lazy. We're lazy, you know, not lazy. We're in a hurry during
Well,
the
the
week.
preparation of
That way
that,
it's a grab and go.
yes, the preparation just needs to be done. You know, if you don't have a plan, you're going to fail. You know,
It's so true.
fail to
It's so true.
plan.
And that's one of the things I do when we come home from the grocery store. And it only takes a few minutes. I just put on my music and I'm happy in the kitchen, right? And then you're
Yes.
set for the week.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about protein shakes for kids? Like for, you know, I know they have the old breakfast shakes that aren't very nutritious, but there's some pretty good protein shakes from health shops that parents can buy we get for adults. But what about protein
Yep.
shakes for kids?
There
How
are,
do
and
you feel about that?
it's really important to recognize that children need a lot more calories than adults. So unless you have a child that really is overweight or verging on obesity, you don't want to get any product that's for weight loss. That's not, or, you know, like you know, just 100 calories. That is not
Right.
going to serve your child. But there are a lot of really good, clean proteins out there. And a lot of the nutrition shops, they will be very helpful for you. You can find everything from dairy-based to vegan-based. And my kids, there's a certain one that we get that's actually a meal replacement. So it's not just protein, it also has the carbs in it and
Yes.
some fat. There's some out there that have superfoods hidden in them that actually taste delicious. So I think the key is finding one that your kids like. And a trick. So like, here's my coffee mug. So if I had a lid on this, the child wouldn't see what color the shake is, right? You give it to them in a clear jar. I used to put kale or spinach or avocado in there with berries and different things. Well, if it's green, they're going to go, if I
Yeah.
don't see it, really, you guys, spinach and kale is pretty much tasteless. And I don't know any kid that likes, like a young child that likes to sit and have a spinach salad. It's just not going to happen. Right.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
can do little things as a parent to sneak stuff in there, and peanut butter. And, you know, we're not really a dairy family. Almond milk. Like, there are things that you can do to help your kids get good nutrition. And then here's the kicker. If they have that has that good protein and healthy fat and good carbs, because you need all of them, then when they do have the treat, they're not going to have these drastic emotional changes because they are kids. Food is enjoyable. Like, we don't want them miserable, right?
Now, do your kids appreciate and understand what you're doing to help them, or do you get a little resistance from them?
They're kids, of course. Some of both. So I'd love to share a little story. So the two I had to birth, they're 18 months apart. They're best friends. They're super close.
And what are the ages again?
Now they're 16 and 15. So
Okay.
we're probably 10 and 12 in this story. So the younger one, we actually learned that he had ADHD and dyslexia. He started having tantrums when he was about 7, and we couldn't figure out why, because he hadn't had tantrums since he was like 2 or 3. And we realized that the way that we were disciplining, he was just having a hard time and feeling like he wasn't heard. And so we've tried a whole bunch of things, and the best one I've discovered is food. So he started, as your children grow and they start having hormonal changes, some of these behaviors come back, right? If any of you have teenagers, they forget to do their chores, they forget to brush their teeth. Like, it's not that they're bad kids, just other things are going on in their body. It's working. So we had talked with my youngest about really taking away any of these quick carbs. We weren't going to do potato, pasta, or bread for 2 weeks and just see how he felt, because it really takes 2 weeks. You need to be careful. If you remove too many food items, you may not know what's helping your child or not, right? And they are kids. We want them to enjoy. So we did that. he was like a different kid. He could go to sleep. He'd wake up with energy. He was much more present. I teach him all day, so I know.
Isn't that something?
It is. So what we did after the 2 weeks, I said, okay, every day you can have one choice that you want, but we are going to have pasta and breads that are sprouted. So you can get a sprouted brown rice, a sprouted wheat pasta. You can think like Dave's Killer Bread, Ezekiel bread. So those grains are more dense and have more fiber, and their glycemic index, so how it turns into sugar in your body, is much lower. Now, no, every kid's going to want white bread versus Ezekiel bread,
Well,
right? Like it has
you
nuts,
kind of
it looks
learn
weird.
to get out of it. Yeah.
Right. But so he was excited. He said, okay, so we did
Good.
that for a couple weeks. And when he was out of friends, he'd have pizza, which is, the quick carb. And he was doing great. And then one day we're on our way to a drive-through Mexican place. And I said, okay, we're going to order. And he said, Mom, I really want to make it a burrito. Can I have the tortilla? This particular company, I know that tortilla is really large. I said, if you want that, okay, but no rice. I said, okay. So we order it. We're driving. And within 20, 30 minutes, he loves singing. He's singing, but like screaming in the back seat and almost coming out of his skin. He's not being disrespectful or bad. And his older brother at 12 looks at him and goes, oh, it's the tortilla. And they started laughing so hard. And so they started having this awareness that,
Wow.
oh my goodness, this does have a bad effect on me. And so unless your child can understand how it really makes them feel. And so today at 15, he's actually very good, and the 16-year-old too, at regulating what he has, because he knows how hard it makes his day if he eats like garbage all the time.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
And you hope that carries with them through high school and college. Yeah. And I know
Yeah.
when I'm in a store and I see all these candy bars at the end of the aisle, it gives me a sick feeling that I wish they weren't there for people just to grab. And I almost feel like I'm creating the mortal sin if I grab one. If I'm going to have a sweet, wait till I get home. And sometimes I'll just have one of my a protein meal, not a meal replacement, just a protein shake, because I don't need the calories of the meal replacement, but just having a chocolate protein shake with almond milk instead
It'll
of just
fill
the
you up.
water, it goes a
Yeah.
long way.
Yeah. Well, and here's the
Yeah.
other thing about protein. So protein, carbohydrates, and fats are all necessary in your diet. And diet just means what you eat. That doesn't mean you're trying to lose weight. So I think certain ones get a bad rap. What I love about protein is that if you have that, it's going to make you feel more full. So if you're a parent giving your kids cereal in the morning with milk, not only do they end up with this sugar spike and then drop, they're going to be hungry so much faster because your body goes through the carbohydrates. The protein sits in your body a little bit longer. It's what helps you rebuild all of your cells. So maybe you add a piece of string cheese, or you do a little breakfast sausage next to it, or you give them, like my kids will usually have like 10 almonds, right? There's little things that you can do, and
That's
that's a really
excellent.
good healthy fat, right? And so it's not like maybe they still decide they want the cereal, but now you've added a little something in to help them when they go to school be successful.
And then even how about oatmeal? My husband hates oatmeal. He would eat it when we were doing cleanses and trying to eat healthy with just a little bit of almond milk. And we put flaxseed in it. But what about oatmeal for kids in the morning?
So I hate oatmeal, but because I think I had it all the time as a kid. But okay, rephrase. It's not my favorite.
Uh, and I love it, but I don't eat it a lot.
So oatmeals, oat is it's in the mid-range of glycemic index. It's a much better choice than a sugary yogurt or a cereal. Most of the cereals, the ones the kids will like, are not, going to be good for you. And so me personally, and I know I'm a health kind of nut,
Yeah.
I actually, in oatmeal, I will put in cauliflower rice into my oatmeal, usually a little bit of like slivered almonds, a couple berries on top. Cauliflower rice is flavorless. It takes on whatever herbs or spices you give
I
it, maybe
never
olive
heard
oil,
that.
cinnamon. So you get your veggies
Wow.
in the morning, right?
Wow.
Your fiber. Try it just a little bit, and it adds volume, but it sounds so weird, but it doesn't change the taste of your oatmeal. It's a good choice. And I think I wanted to say one other thing, talking about checkout and the bars. We're a society that wants convenience. We're always going really quick.
Yeah.
And so I think running a household and trying to feed your children, that's one of the big struggles is what's easy. And a lot of times what's easy isn't really what's good for us. And so you have to be somewhat purposeful in making time. But at the same time, you could grab an apple or a banana for your kid just as quickly as you could grab the Snickers at the checkout. I'm picking on Snickers because I really like Snickers.
Yeah. Well, and with the holidays coming and uh, parents want to stuff those stockings with candy and treats. And, people can be on a really good eating regimen until the holidays and it just messes them up. And then they start having their cravings in January. So, again, healthy choices. My mom used to put nuts and oranges in our stockings and we
Yes,
hated
yes.
it.
Yeah, well, and I will also say that I think being healthy is about making decisions. And for me, a holiday is a yes day. I'm going to, like, our family has always gotten C's candy, so we'll have it everywhere. We do put some chocolate in our kids' stocking, but we do one big bar. That's it. Most of it is not full of candy. And so
Well, that's good
something
to
to
know.
remember, and probably better to remember for adults, not the kids. The first 3 bites will give you 95% of your satisfaction. So if there's a dessert or there's that chocolate, have it and really savor it and enjoy it. And you're probably going to be satisfied and realize, I don't need 4 pieces of fudge. That one piece was delicious. Also, get out of the kitchen. We all hang out in the kitchen and then we eat
Yeah.
all this stuff. But it's true, if you do that every day, the craving is just going to go through the roof and it's going to be really hard. So it doesn't benefit us, it doesn't benefit our kids, but there are times to enjoy sweets.
Okay, thanks for that. One that we love at our holiday gatherings are the charcuterie boards.
Yes.
My daughter makes beautiful ones, and you could put some pretty healthy stuff on them,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
kids are drawn to them.
Well, so
So,
here's something I want to highlight about that too is so pizza, the dough is quick carb, it's going to be sugar. But because it has cheese, which has a lot of fat, and it usually has a pepperoni or like things you would see on charcuterie, it doesn't cause the same sugar spike in your body. So that's not the worst choice as far as dealing with ADHD for your child. Or if you have the pasta, make sure you make a good solid meat sauce to go with it. Don't put butter and cheese on top. Like, give them good things to go with it. And that will kind of counteract some of what's going on, if that makes sense. So a charcuterie
yes.
board, I love, because even if you have the cracker, you're also having something that's fattier with it. So that cracker alone would cause something very different. Okay, I'm story. I don't have sugar that often, but on Thanksgiving we made 3 different pies and they were a yes for me. And I took tiny, tiny little slivers of each one. By the time I had finished the apple one, I could feel I was starting to get a headache. It's from the sugar. If you don't have sugar a lot, you'll get a headache. I ran over and I took a big old piece of the leftover turkey and I started shoving it in my mouth because I knew having that protein would help in my stomach because it was like 3 hours after we had Thanksgiving dinner. If I only had that sugar, it was going to make me sick.
And did that help?
Oh, huge. I was fine. My headache went away actually in a
Isn't
couple.
that amazing? I had a piece of lemon cake weeks ago, and I had the migraine. It was the biggest
Yeah.
migraine. And I went, gosh, because it's because I don't have the sugar often.
Yeah.
But I didn't take protein to counteract it. I just had a pity party and
Well, and I think that's one of the things is when we eat the same way all the time, we don't realize how food makes us feel. I love to say this, food is fuel. If you drive
yeah,
a car, are you going to put some subpar gasoline in your car? No, you're going to put good
that's
quality.
right.
So why would we do that to ourselves? And it really does take you 2 weeks of trying to remove something and then reintroducing it to see if it makes an impact. Because if you have sugar all the time, you don't notice. But when you don't have sugar and then you have it, you feel really awful. And I
That's
see it
right.
the same with gluten, honestly, for a lot of my clients.
And
It's
even
sad.
for the adults, it's the same with having tea versus coffee. When you eliminate coffee for a long time and you have tea and then you have coffee, you feel that headache, right?
The coffee's a bit
I'm
stronger,
starting
yeah.
to sneak in a little bit of coffee here and there, but I defer to my tea a lot,
I
morning
love
and night.
coffee. But
Yeah.
that's also an ADHD thing that I learned is a lot of
Okay.
people with ADHD really like caffeine. Oh, I'll throw this out here too. So with our son, we tried supplements, behavioral therapy for him and us as parents. We did medicate a little bit, and nutrition was what we came back to was the best.
Uh-huh.
But he does love caffeine. And so I get him, there are a few brands out there now that are energy drinks that are clean. Most of them are horrible. I have it delivered to our house, and he has one every morning. And it's about a cup and a half worth of caffeine. He doesn't like coffee, but it helps him so much get through the day. And so his schoolwork. So we found that was a solution because our chemical imbalance, caffeine, seems to plug that up. And so I always loved coffee as a kid, and I didn't understand why. My other son loves coffee. He has since he was little. So in the scheme of things, it's not the worst option.
Interesting. It's just
Yeah.
nice to hear different perspectives and also to get balance, to know that we need to, I mean, when you hear about a person drinking a pot of coffee a day, you're like, where's the balance?
No.
There's no balance in that. And then
No.
also, do you drink your coffee black or do you put half and half or creamer?
So I'm an almond milk girl, so I do a little bit of almond milk, and then I actually usually put some kind of stevia drops in it, which I get on Amazon. Right now, I love pumpkin spice, but usually it's toffee. So I like some kind of flavor. But one of the mistakes with coffee is you can just fill it with sugar, right? I mean, and what do
That's
the
right.
kids want? They want the ones that, and those can have 80 teaspoons of sugar, 80. Like, do
Yeah.
not take your kids to the coffee shops and get the frappa things. Do not do it. It's like
I,
more
I
candy
was just
bars.
going to say, when you're out shopping and buying Christmas trees and you really want to do the Christmas holiday thing and go to, Starbucks or the other coffee places and get these sugary drinks, just don't,
Yeah, and if you really want to, get that hot chocolate for the kid and have it have half of the syrup. They're still going to love it. It's going to be a treat. Some of the large, like Pete's, offers one that's sugar free. It's sweetened with stevia chocolate. So there are different things that you can do to enjoy that treat. But I also would encourage you, we can have treats and rewards that aren't around food. And so when we teach our kids that the reward is with food, it creates a dangerous pattern for them later in life. Like enjoy
it
going
does.
shopping or enjoy picking out your Christmas tree or whatever that might be.
Yeah. What are some of the other rewards that you give your kids instead of food rewards?
Okay,
Like,
so we're big into experiences. So they get to pick like what we might do for a family day or going on a particular date. We don't do this so much now because they're older, but we had a star system. And a lot of times it would be getting a new game. We love playing games. So different board games that would come home. So it really revolved around being together and time. But everyone in my family, their love language is quality time. So that fits our family. That may not be it for yours. Like maybe your kid is a gifts person. We'll have something that adds up to that, but it's, a new sweater, or it doesn't have to be the food.
yes. I'm going to put a plug for my two favorite games. And who knows, people, when we refer other people and other things, it really does help our views because it's nice to help each other. So there's a game called Quarkle. Have you heard of Quarkle?
Yes, we have it.
We love that. And I
Yep.
just learned of a new one, Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride's amazing.
Yeah.
And
So
I
those
actually I saw it in Target yesterday. They've sold over
are,
10 million copies.
wow.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Ticket to Ride, that's kind of our family's more of a strategy family. We really like to play strategy games. And as
Yeah.
they get older, you can do more. And what's great about that too, you guys, is your kids will talk to you more because they're a little bit distracted playing a game. It's not just this, tell me about your day, and they give you one
Yes.
word answer. But a game that I love that kind of matches all ages, it's called Telestrations. So it's kind of like Pictionary, but you pass it along to other people. And so a 4-year-old could play it with an 80-year-old, and people
I'm going to
laugh
write
and
that down.
crack up. Telestrations is another
Uh-huh.
really good. But we have a huge closet of games. So if you ever need game recommendations, let me know.
Wouldn't that be a fun video just to say, here's my games. We're going to just take one at a time and talk about what they do.
My boys would probably get really into that, but
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
Yes.
Well, we should probably wrap this up. This has been a really good time together, Stephanie. I would love to let people know how to reach you if they need some nutrition help for themselves or their kids. So how can they reach you?
The best way to reach out to me is to go to my website, which is wellnesswithsteph.com. And Steph is STEF. And it'll link you to all my different social medias and you can follow along. I give a lot of free information. I really want to see people be healthy, and that looks a lot of different ways and different areas of your life. So,
okay, that's great. So I speak to you, audience. Thank you so much for joining us today. Stephanie and I both have a passion to help children, to help families. And it starts with, health to our bodies. But I also have a real strong passion to help children with their reading, kids who struggle with dyslexia, but also we have preschoolers not ready for kindergarten, kindergartners not ready for first grade. And I am having a very special promotion right now. I'm a reseller from McGraw-Hill, and I have these books that are amazing read, write, and listen books. And I'm passing my discount as a reseller on to you because I just want these books to be more affordable and I want them in your hands. And I've created some demonstration videos or training videos, how to go through each one if you need that support, and that's with a paid subscription. But you can find this information on my website, dyslexia-solutions.com. And we are a nonprofit. So everything we are doing is because we have a passion to help you and reach out to you, help your families, build strong families. And we want smart, happy kids. So if you are inclined to make a donation, that would be very appreciated. So Stephanie Thayer is our guest today. Her husband is Tank Thayer. We've had him. He's a dyslexic surgeon, and we've talked about him in other videos. So listen to other interviews that I've had on this YouTube. You'll really be blessed with the information shared. So Stephanie, we will talk soon.
thank
And
you so
goodbye
much.
to our audience. Thank you for listening.